Welcome to the Novel Universe with your hostesses Ashley and Dawn. We rate and review the newest and most buzzworthy books. We are true book club girls who don't always agree but do enjoy a good book discussion. I'm Ashley, the fantasy architect.
And I'm Dawn, the criticizer of books.
Grab your favorite beverage and come and enjoy our universe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Novel Universe podcast with your hosts, Dawn and Ashley. And today, it is the end of 2022, so you know what that means. It means to talk about our worst books of the year. Pew, 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 pew.
Our poop books. Here we go.
Everyone loves to hear about those poop books. All right. So we're going to do two lists. The first list is going to be the worst books that we read for the pod. And then our second list is going to be the worst books we read personally, because Ashley and I, believe it or not, do read different books outside of the pod, and sometimes they suck. And we're going to talk about them and tell you why you should not read them. All right. Ashley, are you ready for number 5?
Yep. So our number 5 book that we read as a podcast is Beyond the End of the World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, which is the second book in the Other Side of the Sky series. We really liked book 1.
Yeah, we did.
There was a lot of different elements in just the story that were like, oh my gosh, like this is fantasy, it's young adult, science fiction, there's a little bit of romance, there's some magic, there's some LGBT, little stuff going in there. And they were like, okay, cool. Like, we're going to give this a shot for book 2. And book 2, honestly, was kind of a pooper. Mm-hmm. It really, it was, I personally gave this book a 3, which is on the lower end for Ashley. When I read a book, I'm like, there's some okay elements or whatever. But I was there for the main characters. I did not like how this book played out, like what the actual, driving force of the story was. I thought that it could have been done better. It was set up as like this big overarching thing, and it was like, this is literally like just a freaking computer, like that's running everything, and this is why we have split worlds. This is why there is a world above and a world below, and I don't know. I felt like it could have been done better. I wasn't too big on Nim and what's his name's relationship, which was North. Thank you. Nim and North's relationship. It just, the first book was really good. I mean, they're both from different worlds and whatever, and this one, it was just like, it kind of just went out the window, and I don't know, there's just some things missing, which really sucked, because the first book was great. I think it was in our top 5 of the year last year.
Yeah. So, yeah, the second book it did this thing where it was like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happens, and then this big thing happens, and it was like no story in between. It was just a bunch of stuff happening. I personally don't like that. And I think it did that in book 1, but it was a lot of really good character development in book 1, so it wasn't too bad. But this one, it was just a lot of stuff, and I was not here for it. Yeah. But we do recommend book 1. Read book 1. Book 1 is really good. It's different. If you're looking for a good young adult fantasy that's a little different, I highly recommend book 1, which is The Other Side of the Sky. I believe that's the name of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Number 4 on the bottom of the pod is... Now, I just want to say that we read like 13 books this year, and so we have to pick from 13. So it's not like when we say bottom of the pod, we're not giving these books like a 1. It's just that maybe they got a 3. It's just the bottom of our list of books that we read. So number 4, with that being said, is The Maid by Nita Prose. This wasn't by any means a horrible book. It was just the bottom of our 13 that we read. So I think we gave it like a 3.5 or a 3 or something like that. So it didn't get a terrible rating. It was just... It wasn't as good as some of our other books that we read here on the pod. From what I remember from The Maid, it was a little underwhelming. Everyone was just like raving about this book, and I was just like, I watch a lot of true crime, and I watch a lot of fake true crime, like fiction true crime. And this book could have easily been solved by one thing, and that was, it's not a spoiler, All the cops had to do was look at the security footage and mystery solved. But they didn't do that, which is totally unrealistic. I could not get past that. I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, so, like, the reason why I had an issue with the maid is, like, I didn't understand what was wrong with the main character until, like, the way end of the book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, she is struggling, like
she's autistic, I think.
Yeah, she's autistic. Had no idea. So this whole time I'm reading this, I'm like, is she, you know, like, does she really not see it? Like, why are you so worried about, like, making sure you're good at work and whatever, and, like, all this? I mean, like, this book has been nominated as, like, Goodreads Choice Award nominee for Best Mystery and Thriller.
I'm not shocked.
It's
not shocked at all.
No, it's not. It's definitely, like, a Hallmark fluff mystery. So if you like that, if you're like that, then, like, go, by all means, you probably will think it's a 5. But the whole entire time, I was like, what is wrong with this character? And again, we're missing the element of them looking at the crime scene tapes, and, like, it's very obvious as to who did it. It's very obvious.
It's a cozy mystery. I had never read a cozy mystery before, so therefore I did not understand the genre. I get it now. It's unrealistic.
It is. I don't think I've ever read a cozy mystery before. And I was like...
And I haven't yet again, because I don't like it.
And I think I actually ended up giving this book, like, either a 3 or a 3.5 or something. It's due that. I'm, like, I cannot give it any higher. It's... like, it's something that I would recommend to my grandmother to read.
Yeah.
She'd find it like, ooh, what a thriller.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad. It's not done well. It's not best thriller. Are you kidding me? No. This is no. It's not crime. It's not suspenseful. It's none of that. Just no. But it is an easy read. I will tell you that. It is an easy read. You'll finish it in one sitting. So buckle in. You'll be all right. It's a cozy Saturday read. But it's not going to be your best pick. So anyway. All right. So our number 3 spot, we have The Iron Widow by... Oh, shoot. I can't pronounce his name.
I don't remember. Is it Jane? Let me look it up. Whilst I'm looking this up, we're not going to go too deep into these books because we did a full podcast on all of them. So if you want to hear our full thoughts, go and listen to our full podcast. So I think it's Xiran J.
Zhao, right?
Yeah.
I think it's Zhao.
Xiran J. Zhao.
I know that part.
Okay.
I butchered all of these names, so you can hear Dawn laugh at me the whole entire time in this podcast that we did on this, because I butchered every single name. And you know what? I apologize. It's not my first. I don't know how to read it. I don't. But this book is a fantasy, YA, science fiction. It kind of touches in a bunch of different areas, but this whole thing is like these boys are paired with girls to help pilot their, like, Crystallis planes, okay? And so, like, the girls have a higher count, if you, like, reminds me of Star Wars, where it's like they check your midichlorian account or whatever to see how, you know, one with the Force you are or whatever. It's very similar to that, because, like, these boy pilots need the girls to pilot these things. Well, the girls keep dying, so they can't seem to find ones that are able to outlast the men or whatever. And our main character, Zitan, is that how you say her name? Is it the Tan?
I don't remember.
You know, she actually has, like, this higher count, and she ends up killing the guy that she's, like, piloting with.
Yeah,
so,
that's not a spoiler.
It's
in the description.
It is. It's in the description. They don't know what to do with her because she's the girl. Okay. And there's just a lot of missed moments where this book connects. Like, first of all, that first part sounds great, awesome. Like, let's see what it is. But then, like, they accuse her of taking over the world and all this other stuff, and she's finding other people that are similar to her, but they're all like hiding in the background because they're women and they don't want to say anything. And it's very weird. I did not like this book, like, at all. I think this book I gave either 2.5 to 3 because it was rough.
It lacked focus. She had a good idea, and one of my complaints that I have with this trope is the trope of the main person is sent to kill another character, yet they fall in love. I fucking hate that trope, and this book didn't do that. And it went against trope, and I was like, yes, finally, they're set out to kill him and can actually do. But then there's like I'm not gonna say it because it's a spoiler, but just know it's all over the place. Oh my god. You finally at one point think you're zeroed in on the plot, and then it goes to the left, like way left. So
it's just out of nowhere. It's just very disconjointed. The story was just it started off real well. Like, we were like, oh, I'm here for it, like, let's do it. And then just things just kept happening, and I'm like, there's no plot for this, there's no reason for this, like, I don't understand what this is aiming towards. And, like, you know, someone's waking up from the dead that's supposed to be dead, and like it's basically like World War III is happening in outer space, is the best way I can put it. Like, I don't understand. We did not like this book, so this is why this is our number 3.
All right, our number 2 is, and I did not look up this author's name, The Southern Book Club Guides to Slaying Vampires. What's the author's name?
It's Grady Hendrix.
Grady Hendrix. All right, I know a lot of people love this book. I continue to see TikToks and book talks and booktubes of the people who love this book, and I am just like, oh my god, I don't understand why. So here is my issue with this book. So I am Black, and this book is incredibly problematic to Black people. Let me say it again, white people. This book is very problematic to Black people because it is talking about some very serious topics in the Black community, which is police brutality, which is a minor one, but still, racism, and the abuse and exploitation of Black children. And this author is not doing a good job of it because A, they are not Black, so it's not on Voices, and B, they're not like they're not a like professor of history of African American studies or anything like that. Nothing. He's just, I feel like it was being used to advance a plot. You're just using serious topics in the Black community for shock value and to advance a plot. And also, I had an issue because as a woman, I felt like it was pandering to women. This is a man writing about women's issues, and it's very surface level, and I just did not like anything about it.
Right. So, as someone who is the other part of this podcast, who is white, these were also the same problems that I have because this is not okay. You're writing something that you have no context to, that you can't just throw it on there as a touch point. It's not okay. It's completely discriminatory. It's rude. It's gross. Like, don't do it. Just don't do it, because like the women who are reading this book, like, we're seeing this is happening. Dawn and I had like 2 ratings for this book in particular, and the reason why is because I have never read like a horror book before. This is my first one. Absolutely, if you like that like style of writing, go for it. You'll love it. Me? No. I hated this book. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. It was disgusting. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Didn't like how, this group of women that they're like trying to talk to their husbands about the fact that there's a vampire in town, and the husbands are like, well, let's just have him over for dinner.
There's a vampire in town.
It's okay. Show your Southern hospitality as the vampire is like screwing people all over the place. You're just going to talk, look, okay, cool, we're going to have him over for dinner. Let's invite the murderer over, shall we? Okay. No. I hated this book. I hated this book so much just because I was creeped out. I was creeped out. I don't want to read anything else like it ever again.
The gore didn't bother me. The gore is actually the best part of the book. I don't mind gore. I love horror. So the grossness of it, I don't like rodents. That was gross. But I mean, the grossness of it didn't bother me. So, you know, but if you do not like gross, then you're not going to like this book at all.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with the gore. The gore was like, you know, I can desensitize myself from that. It's more of the fact of like how we see, you know, the vampire preying on women is my like big thing where I'm like, that part was disgusting to me. Like, oh, you know, so like, no. Especially, you know, when they're like in the community, or whatever, like with people being kidnapped and stuff, like I had a problem with that from just a moral standpoint. Like, that's not okay. Nor is this not okay. So, no, terrible. Absolutely terrible. This is why it's book 2. No, thank you. All right, are you ready for book 1?
Drum roll, please.
All right. Our worst book of the year is Book of Night by Holly Black.
And you know what I noticed? Holly Black usually runs Goodreads Choice Awards. Girl, this book wasn't even nominated. Can you believe it? It wasn't even nominated. Damn.
I'm looking at it right now. You're right. It's not.
It's not. Because I voted, and it is not nominated.
No. Yeah, I had such a hard time with this book. Just... It's missing so many things. Like it's not a good YA book. First of all, the writing was flat.
It's adult.
The characters were dull, just dull. You can't remember. I can't even remember what this freaking book was about.
It didn't have a plot.
Because it didn't have a plot. There's just. It's all wrong. You know, you can't just introduce characters haphazardly. Like, why are they even here? Who cares about them? They don't add to the story. Let's talk about the magic a little bit. Like, I'm not a big Holly Black person. Like, I read The Cruel Prince, and it was not my cup of tea. No. So if you are a Holly Black lover, I don't even know, because it's like this, every book I've read by her, I don't like at all. No. It just wasn't good.
I feel vindicated because I have never been a Holly Black fan. I have read 3 books by her, and each of them I am like, oh my God, I don't understand why people like this woman's writing. She's a lovely person because I met her in person, but her writing style fucking sucks, and I cannot understand why people like her books. And I feel like this is why, folks, this is the true Holly Black. Her writing is terrible. Her character development is terrible. It is. She has great ideas, but her execution is horrible. And if you didn't like the Book of Night, guess what? I don't know why you like Cruel Prince, because it's bad too. It's terrible. I'm sorry, it's bad. I guess there are some people who like bully porn. Okay, I fucking hate it. I hated everything about that book. That main character was terrible. It was a lot of tell, no show. This girl had no skills, and all of a sudden she's the best spy in town. That is not a thing. And it was the same thing with Homegirl in this book. She is supposed to be the best whatever in town. Okay, because she can pickpocket at the Starbucks. That does not make you a good pickpocket. Like, oh my God, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's so bad. Like, she literally... Yeah, again, I have nothing else to say about it. I did not like it. It is far from my brain. Even what it was about. All I know is a terrible person that was being told that she's an undercover cop, you know, because she can see shadows and manipulate them and whatever, because they have emotions and blah, blah, blah. That's it.
Yeah.
Done. End of story. No, thank you. And a whole poop ton of people that she put in that book. Whole poop ton. Do you see them? No. They're not there. So, worst book of the year. What is your worst book of the year? I'd be curious to hear if you are a Holly Black lover or you're not.
All right.
Definitely not.
So sorry. We are going to get right into our personal worst books of the year, and guess what Dawn's number 5 is? Book of Night was one of the 5th worst book of the year. I already talked about it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm shocked that it's not number 1, but there are 4 books that were worse than this, believe it or not. What about you, Ashley?
So mine's on my list, but I'll tell you what my worst one of the year was, which I'm really actually bummed out about this, because this particular author, she writes fluffy books. So it's Sophie Cousin. She writes very fluffy books. You'll see them all over the place. And I picked up this book. It's called Just Haven't Met You Yet. And this book was so bad because you knew what the plot was, you knew how it was going to end, and it took forever to get there. And let's just say I didn't even finish the last like 70 pages because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. This is my number 5 book of the year. Yeah.
All right.
It was, I would not recommend. It's about a woman that's basically like, she's writing a love article about her parents and comes to find out it's not even true. She meets a guy on the island and hoping for her own like romance, whatever. But don't even. It's not even Hallmark worthy. It's not even Hallmark worthy.
Wow.
And that's coming from a lot from Ashley. I didn't know. Took way too long.
Okay. Well, my number 4 is the Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires. We already talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But that was number 4 for me.
Okay. Well, my number 4 for me, which actually this is kind of like a big bummer, is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout. I really felt that, okay, so like the first book, absolutely amazing. Like I was totally there for Poppy and, you know, her whole story and everything like that. But book 2, I just felt like Poppy was starting to turn into this one noted character. And the whole entire time, you know, Castell, her man, is like trying to bring her back or whatever. And it's just, I know this series is very big, but book 2 kind of just sent it to where I really struggled with Poppy as a character, and I just didn't see any growth and development for her, which was unfortunate because the first book was real good, totally there for it. You know, it's fantasy, a new adult, paranormal, vampires again. Hello, like. Totally excited for this. But yeah. That was my 4th one.
All right.
Bad.
My number 3 is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. I don't know when this is published. It might be published already or it might be coming out later this month. But she wrote The Witch... What was the name of that series?
Oh, yes. Hold on. Yes, I know who you're talking about because I think I've read them. Susan, let me see if I can find it.
Well, while she's looking for it, I'll explain what this book's about. So it's about these characters. This is YA and
The Witchland.
The Witchland.
Yeah.
What was book 1 called?
The book 1 was called Truth Witch.
Truth Witch.
She,
yeah.
You know, goes to like Wind Witch, Blood Witch,
yeah.
all that. And she's also got that Something Strange and Deadly series she wrote as well.
Okay, but The Witchland is the popular series from her. But this one is a new series, New World, and it's about these teens who are part of the Luminaries, and the Luminaries guard the world from nightmares. So like vampires, werewolves, all this stuff. This book was terrible. For one thing, it is written like it's for middle grade. It is for people who have never read a fantasy book in their life. It is horrible. I did a review. I have a YouTube channel and I review books on that too. And my one of the examples I give is in the book. For some reason, Susan Dennard writes parts of her book in parentheses, or she'll italic. You know what I mean? When you'll be reading a book and then parts of it will be italicized or in parentheses. So she's in this part of the book, she's talking about these pair of twins, and she's like, blah 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 is saying that, oh, we're gonna go down the block to blah blah blah. In parentheses, it'll say she was twirling her long braided hair. Like, that's not how you describe a character. It's just the way it was written. It was like, that's not how you do it. You would say, while Cynthia was talking, she was twirling her braid around her finger. She's trying to let the reader know that this character is black because she has long, coily braided hair. But you don't put that in parentheses. That's something that a middle grade writer would do. It was just very youthfully written. It was full of tropes. It was incredibly predictable. It had the bad boy who's misunderstood and the father who was kicked out of town because he's a traitor. You know that's bullshit. You know he was kicked out of town because he knew too much. You know, it's so, like, formulaic. It's just bad. If you haven't read it, don't read it. If you're excited about it, don't be excited about it. Read Truth Witch over again.
Oh, seriously, 100%. I loved that series, by the way. Well, that one sounded awful.
It's awful.
My next book that I just did not like this year, this was actually like, I think this was my first one of the year that I was just like, ooh, yuck. I read Wicked Beauty by Katie Robert. Now, Katie Robert rewrites villainous stories where, like, our, you know, two main protagonists are not really going to get, like, a happily ever after, and so she rewrites them for them to get a happily ever after. Her first one is, like, Neon Gods with Hades and Persephone. The next one is with, I forgot.
So you read book 3, did ya? Didn't like it, did ya?
I didn't like
I was done after book 2, dude. I was done.
No, book 3 is a retelling of Helen of Troy and Protagoras. How do you say his name?
I don't know.
I can't even say his name, like, correctly. Anyway, it's with, you know, Helen Troy, Achilles, and Protagoras, or however you say his name. It's a threesome. These people are so flat. Helen is awful. Like, she just... It's just so bad. It's so bad. You know, they're all fighting to, like, become, like, part of the main Heart of Olympus, blah, 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 stuff. I don't know. The first one by Katie Robert, I was all right with. This one, I was, like, just pushing it now. It's just it's a lover's triangle. That's all it is. And I was done reading it. I was not happy with it. So, yeah, there it is.
All right. My number 2 is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. Oh, damn. And this is nominated for a Goodyear's Read Choice Awards. Don't vote for this. Don't vote for this. Don't read this. If you're one of those people who are like, ooh, I'm going to read what's on the Goodreads Choice Award, don't read this book. It is about this girl and her sister who is 15. This is YA. Her sister's 15. She's like 17. And their parents, it's this old story, you know. Her parents are gone somewhere and she has to take care of her sister, and she needs to get back home because they were taken from home for some reason. And this magical, it's not a circus. Is it a circus? I don't know. It's this magical circus type place shows up very secretly every year. And if you can get in there, you can have a wish come true, or you can get home or whatever. And so, of course, she gets in there, and her sister, who's like a burlesque dancer at 15, and there's this guy. It's, you know what, it reminds me of Caraval. It is Caraval 2.0, where there's this mysterious guy, and then the author does this weird thing of she's trying to get these two characters together, the guy and the girl, and it's like she's trying really hard to get them alone so that they can breathe heavily as they look at each other. It's that crap. It's so bad. It is the typical horrible YA. Do not read it. It is terrible. Do not waste your time.
No. Oh no. Okay, I'm so sorry. My next book that I did not like this year is The Southerners Book Club to Slaying Vampires. Awful. No thank you. So don't. We've already talked about it. I'm out. See you later.
All right. My number 1. Oh my God. is Lightlark by Alex Astor. Oh my God. You heard about this book, right? I know you know all about this. It's all over TikTok. How can you not? It's that Lightlark book. Do you know what I'm talking about? The cover?
No, but I'm going to look it up right now.
Girl, you'll see the cover. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all out there listen to what I'm talking about. It's about that girl that was on TikTok, and she was talking about her book all over TikTok, and she got like a 6-figure book deal based on her talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. She got this huge book deal because of her promoting it on TikTok, and she got a movie deal and all this, and it was this big thing that she's like a TikTok plant and all this other bullshit. The book is bad. It's terrible. It is all over the place. It was described as the Hunger Games meets something else. I can't remember what the other thing was, but it is not the Hunger Games. I don't even know if I should say what this book is about. It's about this girl who has to save her world, has to save her people by entering this competition. Okay. But it's not about the competition. The competition has like really dumb challenges, and meanwhile she's trying to find this heart so she can destroy it to like help her people. And it's got this like it's Hunger Games meets a Kotar. Because I think it's supposed to be Lucien and Feyre. I think it's supposed to be that kind of relationship. It's so bad, Ashley. It's so bad. Oh my God, it's so bad. I want you to read it. Yes. I listened to it. I listened to it. On like on like 3 speed. On 3 speed. Listen to it. I think it's on the library. Libby. It's on Libby.
Oh, it's on Libby. Okay.
It's one of those books where it's so bad that you have to read it. So I'm going to recommend it because it's so bad. It's so bad it's good. It's so bad it's good.
Here it is. I got it.
We can talk about how bad it is after you listen to it.
Read a bad book. We're telling you to read a bad book so you can be on our team. My number one worst book of the year was Book of Night by Holly Black. Again, like, this book was so bad that I have lost everything else that it was about, like, because it just doesn't matter. I think the main character's name was Charlie.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
You know, there was, shadow magic, shadows having power, coming back to life.
I mean, the idea is cool. Like, the whole what she was trying to do with shadow magic was really interesting, innovative. Like, shadow can, like, become a whole person, like leave their host, essentially their human person, and become a whole thing. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, they can attach themselves to other people. They can become their own person, like, whatever. Like, super cool, right? But it's just so bad. It's so bad. So those are our worst books of 2022. What were your worst books of the year? Do you have any? Are you like us? Do you finish? Or actually, are you like Dawn, GG, nothing if it's so bad? Or are you like Ashley, do you finish it hoping that it's going to be so good?
And then you read book 2, hoping it gets better.
You read book 2. Hoping it'll be better. So we're curious to hear what your thoughts are from this whole year. We really appreciate you guys and just following us along and hearing what we have to say. Those of you that do listen to us ramble and bamble about all of the books all over the place. So we appreciate you.
We will see you in 2023. Thanks for making 2022 great. And we will catch you in the next podcast.
Goodbye.